I'm going to begin to explain this PDF file, which must be available somewhere in our course website. So this, as we go along, and I'm going to show more, but this space here is something I use to block the content, and I'm going to show more and as I go along. So this is just the way I do. So don't read this part. It's just to block the part underneath it. So if you find a window menu, and underneath it there's a document center, and that's where you access the manual. So you can find everything we talk about in there, and they documented everything. So let me start with this part here, Alt 7. I hope you can see this notebook pulled up, and you can see that the cursor is blinking, and this horizontal line tells us where the cursor is. Now if you hit Alt 7 for the Windows system, and then it changes the horizontal line to space where you can type things in, and it's Alt 7 allows us to type just words, not mathematical command. So I magnified a little bit so that you can see better, and then I typed it just like when you type in a word processor. So this mathematical file recognizes this as just text, not mathematical command. If you hit enter, it enlarges this cell, as you can see on the right, and you can keep typing those text information. So I typed name part, and if you move the cursor and underneath it, and then if you click it, and it begin to introduce a new space, and if you hit Alt 7 again, then it's going to change to the space where you can still type those text. For example, section 1, like this. So you can type more to explain what we're about to do and what you have done, and something like that. So that's what this part is about. And if you hit Alt 7, and that changes the cell, that's what they call that bracket cell, into a word processing space. So let me say a few things about numerical computation. Unlike other mathematical software, Mathematica handles expressions algebraically by default. That means it tries to calculate things exactly. If it encounters square root 2, then it try to keep that simple square root 2 and do all the algebraic calculation as like we do by do those calculations by hand. If you want a numerical calculation, you have to let the Mathematica know one way or another that you want the numerical calculation. Of course, doing algebraically it takes a long time, and often that's not what we want with the computer software. So we often use just for use Mathematica for numerical results. So here's an example. A1 is the name of the variable. We're storing this number 2 into A1. But you can see that 2 dot, that's the one way to let Mathematica know that you want decimal result. If you just type the 2 in there, Mathematica will just give you sign bracket 2, which is just a repeat of exactly what you have typed. So let me show you how you type this thing in and how to get this answer, actual notebook. So you're back in here, the cursor is blinking in this text mode, right? So you have to put your cursor underneath it and click it, and then it introduces new space. If you just don't do anything, begin to type, and then it recognizes the mathematical command. So if I put A1 like I just showed you before, the reason is showing the blue here. It recognizes A1 as the name of the variable, and it is blue because it does not know its definition. So it takes it a new name, then it's blue. And you're defining 2 and semicolon, it means the end of the line or end of a command. If you hit enter here in Mathematica, it doesn't execute this one. It just goes to the next line and enlarging the cell. So we're still in the cell, we'll just keep typing it, have not executed the command or anything. So if you type the sign of 2, that will mean the sign of 2 radian. You see, if I type the sign, it changes to black. It means it knows what this is, and all the built-in Mathematica commands start with a capital. If you use a lowercase, and you're going to have an error message. All the built-in command must start with a capital letter. It's a sign of a bracket, not parentheses, and A1 and bracket, and that'll calculate the sign of 2. But again, because we don't have a 2 dot in there, 2 point, it'll just and show sign bracket 2. So to execute this entire cell here, which is bracketed in here, you have to hold Shift key and hit enter. And then it's going to execute, just like it here, sign of bracket 2. So often this is not what we want, so we want sign 2 in a numerical value. So for that, an easy trick is that you go back to 2 and change to 2 point, and then it knows it's a numerical. It has to be a numerical value. Again, Shift enter, and it'll give you the numerical solution. Again, this means it's sine of 2 radian. Here's a different way of letting the Mathematica know that you want to deal with some numerical values, is that changing this, putting this n around it. So 2 is the same value, and 20 means we want to keep this 20 decimal of accuracy. So this n2 bracket 20 will be 2.000. There are 20 zeros in there. So it'll evaluate sign and try to keep this much of the accuracy, right? So I want you to go and do this one in yourself, and let's see if you get the similar number. Again, if you did something and then you were busy and then forgot to make sure that you change things into a numerical value, and then realize that this simple thing must be done by now and it's taking a long time, it's probably doing things algebraically, and it's taking a long time to do that exactly. So make sure you put that in the numerical form. And whenever that happens, and if you want to stop the computation, one way is this Alt and the dot. So I don't know if you can see this one or not. It's hold Alt key and hit dot, and it's going to abort the computation. And then you can go back and change things to a numerical value, and then rerun by holding Shift key and hit enter.